The Architect of Echoes. Part 1. The City of Gray Chroma. The day began for Kael, as it did for everyone in the City of Echoes, with a dose of chroma. It wasn't a substance you drank or injected. It was one you absorbed. He woke not to the gentle light of a sun he'd only seen in faded schematics, but to the soft, pulsing glow of the chroma conduit beside his bed. He held his palm over its smooth, cool surface, and a stream of vibrant, liquid light flowed into him. It was a jolt of pure, manufactured sensation, the thrill of 1,000 fleeting triumphs, the warmth of 100 superficial compliments, the fizz of 12 breaking news alerts, all condensed into a single 3-second burst. He felt awake. He felt connected. He felt ready. The City of Echoes was perpetually bathed in a soft, gray twilight, the sky obscured by a dense mesh of data cables and atmospheric processors that hummed with a constant, low-frequency thrum. The buildings were sleek, featureless monoliths of polished chrome and dark glass, their surfaces reflecting the grayness back onto the streets. The true color of the city came from the chroma. It shimmered from omnipresent screens, pulsed from the conduits in every home and workplace, and swirled in the eyes of its citizens. But it was a borrowed color, a temporary veneer over a world of monochrome. Kael was a master of this world. He was an echo weaver, one of the city's most respected professions. His job was to craft echoes, short, potent, looping narratives of success, beauty, or outrage that could be broadcast into the city's data stream. A well-crafted echo could generate thousands of ripples, the city's currency of social validation. A ripple was a ping of acknowledgement, a signal that someone, somewhere, had felt the sensation you had created. A strong flow of ripples brought social standing, better housing, and access to purer, more potent strains of chroma. Kael's studio was a testament to his success. It was a high-level apartment with a panoramic view of the city's gray geometry. One wall was a vast, interactive screen displaying the ceaseless flow of the data stream. He sat in his form-fitting chair, the morning's chroma humming in his veins, and began to work. His current project was for a corporation that sold nutrient paste. The brief was simple: create an echo that associated their product with the sensation of serene satisfaction. He began weaving. With practiced gestures, his hands danced in the air, pulling threads of light from the data stream. He took the color of a sunset he'd never seen from an archival image, the sound of a calming melody engineered to trigger dopamine release, and the face of a model whose smile had been algorithmically optimized for trustworthiness. He layered them, compressed them, and added a subliminal pulse that mimicked a slow, steady heartbeat. He polished the 3-second loop until it shone with an irresistible, placid glow. He released it into the stream. Within minutes, the ripples began to flow in, a gentle cascade at first, then a steady stream, then a torrent. The ripple counter on his screen climbed: 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Each ripple was a tiny, validating ping in the back of his mind. It was the feeling of success, the confirmation of his skill. He took another small dose of chroma from the conduit on his desk, letting the dual sensations of the ripples and the light wash over him. He was good at this. He was respected. He was, by all measures of the city, happy. So why did he feel like a ghost? The feeling was a familiar one, a low, dissonant hum beneath the vibrant symphony of his daily chroma intake. It came to him in the quiet moments, the few seconds between finishing one echo and starting the next, or in the dead of night when the city's thrum seemed to deepen. It was a feeling of profound emptiness, a sense of being stretched thin, of being a reflection of a reflection. His emotions felt borrowed, his triumphs hollow. The thousands of ripples felt like rain on a glass roof, a storm of noise that never actually touched him. He pushed the feeling down, as he always did, with more work, more chroma. He spent the rest of the day weaving, an echo of righteous anger for a political faction, an echo of aspirational envy for a luxury brand, an echo of fleeting humor involving a glitching service drone. The ripples flowed. His accounts were credited. His social standing was secure. That evening, he met with friends at a chroma bar. They didn't talk so much as exchange echoes. Lyra shared a witty, self-deprecating echo she had crafted about a minor social faux pas, and they all absorbed it, sharing in its brief, sharp humor. Ren showed them an echo of a breathtaking vista from a deep archive simulation, and they all felt a manufactured sense of awe. The conversation was a rapid-fire exchange of pre-packaged feelings. It was efficient, it was engaging. But as Kael sat there, smiling and sharing his own echoes, he felt a strange sense of dislocation. He was watching himself perform, his facial expressions mirroring the chroma he was consuming, his mind a million miles away, lost in the gray haze. He left early, walking home through the perpetually twilit streets. The air was cool and carried the scent of ozone and recycled air. The faces of the people he passed were all illuminated by the glow of their personal conduits, their eyes shimmering with borrowed light. No one looked at each other, they looked at the stream. Back in his apartment, he stood before the great window, looking out at the city of chrome and glass. The feeling was back, stronger this time. It was a hunger for something he couldn't name, a color he'd never seen, a silence he'd never heard. He felt like a finely tuned instrument that had only ever been used to play a single, repetitive note. Restless, he turned away from the window and began to pace. His gaze fell upon a corner of his studio he rarely looked at, a small alcove where his late father's belongings were stored. His father had been an archivist, a strange and outdated profession that involved maintaining the physical data cores from before the age of the ubiquitous data stream. It was a dusty, forgotten corner in a sleek, modern world. On a whim he couldn't explain, he walked over and opened one of the old storage containers. Inside, nestled amongst obsolete data chips and tangled fiber optic cables, was a small, unassuming object. It was a rock. It was perfectly smooth, shaped like a large flattened egg, and it was a dull, lifeless gray, a gray deeper and more absolute than even the city's sky. It had no glow, no shimmer. It was utterly inert. Curious, he picked it up. It felt heavy in his hand, cool to the touch. It felt real, more real than the shimmering, weightless echoes he crafted all day. He ran his thumb over its surface. It was a useless, functionless thing. It offered no information, no sensation. He almost dismissed it, ready to toss it back into the container, but something stopped him.
He thought of his father. The memory was faint, unenhanced by any chroma. He remembered a rare day when his father had taken him to the archives, a vast, silent warehouse of forgotten knowledge. He remembered the smell of dust and old electronics. He remembered his father holding a similar gray stone, a look of quiet concentration on his face that Kael now realized he had never seen on anyone in the city. It was not the wide-eyed engagement of chroma consumption, but a deep, inward focus. A wave of unexpected and genuine emotion washed over Kael. It wasn't an echo he had crafted or consumed. It was his own. It was a profound and aching sense of loss, a deep sadness for a connection he had barely understood and could never reclaim. A single tear, hot and real, escaped his eye and rolled down his cheek. It fell onto the gray stone in his hand. For a breathtaking instant, the stone blazed with a light he had never imagined. It wasn't the frantic, shimmering light of chroma. It was a deep, pure, and unwavering crimson. It was the color of a heart, of blood, of a life force that was utterly alien to the city. The light was warm, and it pulsed in time with his own heartbeat. It lasted for only a second before fading back to its dull, lifeless gray. Kael stood there, stunned, his heart hammering in his chest. His hand trembled. What was that? He had never seen a color so pure, so absolute. It hadn't been a sensation projected into his mind. It had been a real thing, out in the world, and it had come from him, from his sadness. He examined the stone, his mind racing. He had felt something real, and the stone had responded. He turned it over and over in his hands, and for the first time he noticed a series of faint, almost invisible lines etched into its surface. They weren't the sharp, precise lines of the city's architects. They were worn and ancient, like a map. And at the center of the swirling lines was a symbol, a stylized sun with a quarry pickaxe through its center. He spent the rest of the night in a fever of research, forgoing his usual evening chroma dose. He bypassed the city's curated data stream, using his father's old access codes to delve into the deep archives. He searched for the symbol, for mentions of gray stones, for anything outside the endless loop of the city's daily echoes. After hours of digging through forgotten files and corrupted data, he found it. It was a fragment of an ancient text, dismissed by the city's historians as a primitive myth. It spoke of a time before chroma, a time when the world was lit by a real sun. It spoke of sunstones, raw materials found in a distant quarry that could hold the true light of a focused mind. The text was fragmented, but the message was clear. The world Kael knew was a pale imitation of something that had been lost. He looked at the gray stone in his hand. Then he looked at the city outside his window, at the millions of people chasing fleeting ripples, their minds and souls shimmering with a borrowed, second-hand light. And for the first time, the gray haze of his life parted, and he saw a path. It was a terrifying, unknown, and illogical path. It led away from success, away from validation, away from everything he had ever known. It led out of the city. He made his decision. The next day, he transferred the majority of his credits to his friends without explanation. He packed a small bag with nutrient paste, a water recycler, and a few of his father's old tools. At the bottom of the bag, he placed the gray stone. It felt like the only real thing he owned. He met Lyra and ran one last time. He tried to explain, but the words felt alien in his mouth. "I'm leaving," he said. Lyra laughed, absorbing a small amused echo from her conduit. "Leaving for where? The outer districts? I heard they have a new vintage chroma simulation there." "No," Kael said, his voice steady. "Outside, beyond the city walls." Ren's smile faded. "Outside? There's nothing out there, Kael. Just the wastes, dust and decay. Why would you go there?" "I'm looking for something," Kael said, touching the hard shape of the stone through the fabric of his bag. They looked at him with a mixture of pity and concern, the way one might look at a beautifully designed machine that had suddenly started to malfunction. They offered him a dose of calming chroma, which he politely refused. He said his goodbyes and walked away, leaving them bathed in the shimmering, second-hand light of the cafe. He walked to the city's edge, to the great permeable gate that separated the ordered world of chrome and glass from the unknown chaos of the wastes. The gate guards barely glanced at him. No one ever laughed. Why would they? Everything they could ever want was inside. Kael stood before the shimmering barrier. He could feel the thrum of the city behind him, the pull of a million ripples, the promise of another easy dose of chroma. It was the siren call of a comfortable, predictable, and hollow life. He took a deep breath, the recycled air feeling thin and stale. He thought of the flash of crimson, the impossible, beautiful color that had come from his own heart. He put his hand on the stone in his bag and walked through the gate. The familiar hum of the city ceased instantly, replaced by a profound and terrifying silence, broken only by the sound of the wind whispering over a forgotten world. The gray twilight of the city gave way to the harsh, unfiltered glare of a sky he had never truly seen. He was outside. He was alone. The journey had begun.